Buenos dias, people of YouTube. What is going on? And the name is AK of Owner Extreme Azure, and today I am about to bring you yet another X-React video presentation. Today we're going to be talking about Nintendo's recent announcement from their investors briefing that was just held in Japan on April 27th. And a lot of good news came from that briefing, as is usually the case. The whole purpose of it was, of course, for the company to announce to their investors how well they've been doing financially, and they have been doing very well with sales increases with 3DS hardware and software, and of course the biggest thing, the release of the Switch, which has sold to date. Nintendo confirmed, well, rather I should say it has shipped to date 2.74 million units, and that's just in the month of March alone, and we're now getting down to the end of April, which means that number has definitely increased without a doubt. It's a lot larger than that, but that is how many units that they shipped for the month of March, 2.74 million. And they were only expecting to ship 2 million units for the month, but that increased to 2.74 million, showing that, and they did say that they were going to ramp up production after they saw how well it was selling at launch. And they kept their promise. They ramped up production and they shipped 2.74 million units worldwide, which is really good. And that, remember, that is for the end of March. And considering the fact that the Switch has been very hard to find online, in brick and mortar stores, everywhere, it has been very hard to find, those units have more than likely been sold to real people. And they are sitting in households at this time, and that's just the end of March. I want to emphasize that we are now at the end of April, getting into May, so there are likely perhaps over 3 million Switches out in the wild right now, more than likely. So this is a really good start for the system, and it's so significant because we just got off the Wii U, which is Nintendo's lowest selling home system to date, having only sold a little over 13 million units worldwide. So the Switch is more than likely already at 3 million units, which means it has 10 million more units to go. And here's the thing, Nintendo has increased their sales forecast and they want to sell 10 million more units by next year. So by March of next year, they're hoping for the Switch install base to be at least 13 million units strong. So that means that if they really do meet that goal, the Switch will have sold the exact number of Wii U units. The Wii U took 4 years to get 13 million units, and Nintendo is hoping to do that exact same number within the Switch's first year. That is just insane to think that the Switch can sell that much in a year. I'm not saying that it's impossible, I'm just saying that it just goes to show how unfortunately slow the Wii U sold. It was a very slow seller, and that was primarily due to the fact that well, we had the PS4 and Xbox One launch just a year later, and also because a lot of the big titles that really drove system sales were not available until at least a year, 2 years, 3 years after the system had launched. So Nintendo was really slow with getting those system sellers out, and they're really trying to change that with the Switch. I've talked about this before, about how Zelda was at launch, and Mario Kart 8 just dropped on April 28th, this Friday, the time I'm recording this video. Those are two big system sellers already within the first 2 months, and then we have other big titles to look forward to throughout the year. And Nintendo also revealed during this investors briefing that there are more unannounced first-party titles that they expect are going to also be system sellers, and there are also third-party projects that have not been announced and that are going to be revealed in due time. Like, we just had a direct, I think about 2 weeks ago, and Payday 2 was announced out of nowhere. So that just goes to show you that third parties are working with the system, we just don't know it. Nintendo revealed long ago that they have partners, major partners from all over the industry working with the Switch developers like Activision, Ubisoft, EA, Take-Two, they're all there, and other studios as well are working on it. We know that their indie crowd has been very big and constantly growing. So yeah, it just goes to show that the Switch does have support. Just gonna have to wait and see exactly how big it is. And E3 is coming in June. Nintendo also revealed that they will not be having a major press conference like, you know, what is usual. They will be continuing with their direct format, which I think is fine. A lot of people, when they made this move for the very first time back in 2013, I think it was, a lot of people thought that Nintendo was making a mistake by only doing a direct for E3. They thought that it was a sign that Nintendo no longer had confidence, and they didn't want to try and challenge PlayStation and Xbox anymore because they knew that they were going to lose. So they decided to take a much more reserved approach and only do a direct. People were like, Nintendo's just being babies, you know? They don't know what they're doing. They're cutting out the major part of E3. Why would you do that? It just shows that they're failing. Nintendo is doomed, and rada. No. It's not the case at all. Nintendo moving to the direct format for E3 has been perfect, because how many times have we had a compilation of E3 fails over the years? You know, awkward moments, demos crashing on stage, people talking for too long, awkward actors, all sorts of different really cringe-worthy moments have happened at E3 presentations throughout the years. Not just Nintendo, but all of the companies have had really bad moments at E3. What Nintendo is doing with the direct is that it's accomplishing a lot of things. So number one is that it gives them control what the presentation is. With the directs, they are pre-recorded, which means that whatever mistakes are made can just be edited out, and you'll never know that there was a mistake. There will be no failed demos on stage because the footage was pre-recorded. So that's one good thing. Another good thing is that it allows Nintendo to just directly send the news to gamers themselves, because I mean, think about it. A lot of gamers don't watch the full E3 presentations. They just go on the websites, read what announcements there were, go on YouTube, see what trailers were dropped. That's how they get their news from E3. Some gamers do actually, you know, sit at home, like I do it sometimes. I sit at home and watch the E3 presentations, but most don't. The E3 presentations are really primarily for the people in the audience. Those are the ones who benefit the most. They're there, they're seeing it happening, you know, they can feel the energy in the room. You know, that's who it really caters to. Because when you're watching a live presentation through a screen, it's just not the same thing as being there in person. So with these directs, it's giving everyone the exact same experience, because everyone's going to be watching the exact same thing. It's going to be pre-recorded for everybody, whether you're at home or whether you're a part of the press. And then the show floor, that's where the media then will be able to go in, get their interviews and stuff like that, and be able to try out the games firsthand for themselves. But what Nintendo is doing, that they're having a much cleaner presentation, one that has little to no faults, and is getting the news directly out to the gamers, so they don't have to rely on media to give out the news. Nintendo is doing that themselves. So they're taking part of the media's job to deliver the news. They're saying, okay, you don't have to pay attention to IGN, GameSpot, and whatever. You can just go ahead, watch the direct, and get all the news that way. So if those media, and most of them do, if they give more coverage to PlayStation and Xbox, Nintendo doesn't have to feel left out, because Nintendo has already done their job of getting the news out to the public. So yeah, the directs obviously make a lot of sense. That's why they've continued to do it over the years, and even now with the Switch, I'm guessing this is just going to how the new format is just going to be from now on. And just in case E3 does ever go away, Nintendo wouldn't be affected, because they started doing the directs eons ago. So yeah, they're setting themselves up for the future, which is good. And finally, the last thing I want to talk about is the 2DS XL, the new 2DS XL. Came out of scenic nowhere. It was announced at the investors briefing as well. All I can say is, okay, that was unexpected. There were no leaks, there were no rumors or anything. It just showed up out of scenic nowhere. Nintendo has this habit of making big announcements out of the blue. So this was definitely one of them, a genuine surprise. Congratulations, Nintendo, that you were able to keep that under wraps until you were ready to reveal it. So yes, new 2DS XL, it's basically a new 3DS without the 3D. Just as the 2DS was an original 3DS without the 3D, the 2DS XL is the new 3DS, which means it has the extra power, and it has the clamshell design, it has the C-stick built in, so it has all the features that the original, that the new 3DS XL has, except it does not have the 3D slider, which has brought the price down from $199 to $150. So $150 is what you're going to be paying for the new 2DS XL, which is a really good price. And Nintendo also revealed during the investors briefing that 3DS and Switch are going to be running parallel with each other, but they are not. They're being directed towards the exact same audiences. With the 3DS, Nintendo is primarily targeting a wider demographic, so it's trying to encompass kids and families and, you know, gamers who just like portable systems. But at that cheaper price point, it's giving everybody a chance to go ahead and get into the 3DS library. You have the 2DS at the lowest end of the spectrum, the original 2DS, at less than $100. You can get it for like 70, 80 bucks, which is ridiculously cheap for a game console. And then at the top end of the spectrum, you have the new 3DS XL at $199. So between $80 to $199, you have multiple options in between those. It all depends on what your tastes are, and if you want a purely just basic experience, go with the original 2DS. If you want a much more premium experience but don't want to spend too much money, you can go with the new 2DS XL. And if you just want the full experience, you want the 3D and everything, you can either get the new 3DS or the new 3DS XL, going towards $200. So that's really good. So Nintendo's trying to cater to just about everyone, and the 3DS library is so diverse. There are hardcore titles like Monster Hunter, there are casual titles like Animal Crossing, and everything in between. So if whatever is your speed, you can go ahead, buy the system, get the games, and it's not going to cost you a lot. And of course, and with that said, you know, 3DS is going on 6 years old now. It's kind of amazing that Nintendo is still pushing the system so hard, despite the fact that the technology was already limited when it released, and it's even more limited now. 3DS is still getting support. They promised that they will still be making games for the 3DS. They didn't specify when they plan to slow down support, but for now, they're just going to continue making games for it. And it makes sense because 3DS has between, I think, over 50 million units have been sold of the 3DS family. That's all the 3DS systems that have come out over the years. Over 50 million, I think, getting into like almost 60 million or so. But yeah, a lot of 3DSs are out there, and 2DSs, and 3DS XLs, and blah, blah, blah. There are a lot of units out there, and Nintendo is just trying to make sure that they keep their revenue streams coming in. It makes sense. System is still making them money. Why would they cut it off? I made a video a few months ago talking about how the 3DS should be Nintendo's last dedicated handheld, and from now on, they should just continue with the hybrids. But as long as the 3DS is making them money, go ahead, sure, fine, keep supporting it. But when it starts to slow down, which it eventually will do, when it really starts to slow down, Nintendo should just put it to bed, put it away, and just focus 100% on Switch. With the Switch and the 3DS now, I mentioned before how Nintendo had, you know, trouble balancing out getting support for 3DS and Wii U in the past. And the reason for that is because the 3DS and the Wii U came out just 1 year after each other, so they were running in tandem with each other because they were almost the exact same age. With the Switch now, the Switch has now come over 5 years after the 3DS is released, basically 6 years since the 3DS has released. So it's coming in towards the twilight years of the handheld. So even if Nintendo's attention is still split between 3DS and Switch, the 3DS's lifeline is coming to an end soon enough. I give it at least 2 more years, and then it would, at that point, it should definitely be ready to go to bed, and then they can focus entirely on Switch. And by that point, the Switch will only be about 2, almost 3 years old. So yeah, with that being the case, I think that Nintendo should just continue doing what they're doing. They're doing a good job. They're making their money. They're making money off of 3DS. They're making money off of Switch. They have big plans for the Switch. They have unannounced titles, first and third party. So we have a lot of things to look forward to. E3 is coming in June. That is about 2 months away from now. So it's close, people. It's really, really close. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. And as for PlayStation and Xbox, they should really start paying attention to the Nintendo camp, because if the Switch continues selling like how it's selling, it is going to be a threat. Yes, we have PS4 Pro. Yes, we have Project Scorpio, and those are both great systems. But the Switch is a whole new system. It can do things that the PS4 and Xbox One can't do, and that is taking home console quality titles on the go. And if Nintendo continues to push it hard, it will be a really big success. And it's already off to a good start, so let's just keep the momentum rolling. Get in the video here. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.